I had never heard of copywriting until I read an article about it. No training, no college degree, no website for the first 6 months. But I made one decision that changed everything. This is it. That was a decision. And I refused to let any other thoughts in. When we needed money to get started, we did what any rational person would do. We sold our mobile home. Now, I'm not saying anyone else should do what we did, but I was determined. And here's the thing. When I went to the Thrifty Nickel newspaper to place the ad, I brought a photo of our view, mountains, golf course, unobstructed view of the sunrise, not the house. And the guy asked, "Don't you want a picture of the house?" And I said, "No, I'm selling the view." The first couple who came to look at it paid cash on the spot. We got more than anyone else selling mobile homes in our neighborhood was getting. Now, how did I do that? The same deeper wisdom that told me copywriting was my path. What I now know is bilateral brain processing. Yeah, that's kind of a big term, but I think you're going to understand this very quickly. You see, University of Michigan researcher Dr. Patricia Reuter-Lorenz, we are no relation, I've never heard of her until I did some research on this, but she proved that brains over 50 use both hemispheres simultaneously. So you're not declining, you're actually accessing wisdom that younger people literally can't reach. And you probably got plenty of examples of that from some of those shenanigans you've seen from some quite a bit younger than us. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. Dr. Reuter Lorenz recently released a bombshell study. She calls it the longevity revolution, and it changes everything about aging after 50. The data is staggering. 100-year lifespans are becoming common. As a matter of fact, my mother lived to be 100, sharp and vibrant all the way to the end, using a computer. But here's the kicker. The doctor's research proves that emotionally, older adults far outperform middle-aged and younger people. Late adolescence and early adulthood, the worst. Those are actually the worst years for any kind of emotional well-being or stability. Your brain wasn't designed to peak at 25 and decline, or 30, or even 40. That's just what society tells you. Dr. Reuter Lorenz's research proves your brain keeps developing new capabilities well into your later decades. Now, when I was in that old mobile home in Yuma, Arizona, I kind of thought I was past my prime at that point. Wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. The research shows, though, that I was just entering into my prime. Stanford's Dr. Laura Carstensen studied 184,000 adults over 20 years and found something pretty remarkable. Your brain at 50 processes complex decisions 23% faster than at 25. Why? Because you're using bilateral processing. Both brain hemispheres are working together. Younger brains use one hemisphere at a time. Your mature brain, it's like having two supercomputers working in perfect sync. Now, here's how I accidentally discovered this. When I decided to become a copywriter, I had no logical reason to believe I'd succeed. It actually was quite the opposite. But something deeper than logic said, this is it. That wasn't desperation talking. It was bilateral processing, integrating decades of pattern recognition, emotional intelligence, and life experience into instant knowing. Within 6 months, I'd written a 2-page letter that generated $4 million for the client in just 30 days, and he made $1 million profit from it. The only explanation, how was I even able to do that? I was accessing cognitive abilities that my younger self never had. Try having me do that when I was 30 years old. There was no way. Here's the 3-step protocol that unlocked everything. Step 1, make the clearance decision. Now, for us, it was selling a mobile home and going all in on copywriting. And I did this with my husband's blessing because we were just committed to the process and because we believed in it. Your 50-plus brain calculates real risk better than younger brains because you understand the actual consequences, and in our case, the potential rewards of making that decision, which proved to be true. Step 2, trust your between the lines ability. I often have been told it's like I can read between the lines and see around corners. Well, so can you. You can hear what people need before they say it. 40 years of reading faces and energy isn't just intuition. It's sophisticated pattern recognition. Your brain has been trained. Step 3, start impossibly small. One project, one conversation. We're going 0 to 1, not 0 to 100. Your bilateral brain completes the bigger picture. Here's how to access your bilateral brain advantage daily. Something I call the celestial Sherpa practice. Be a guide for yourself, a guide and an emissary. You're bringing a message and you're guiding, and you start with yourself first, the celestial Sherpa. Find a quiet space and then ask, what would you have me know? Sit in stillness for 3 to 5 minutes. Just let that process and percolate. Then handwrite whatever emerges. No editing, no overthinking, no keyboards in this case. Just pure bilateral brain download. Now, this isn't mystical. Though I do think there's divinity built into this as well. It's neuroscience. You're allowing both hemispheres to communicate without your logical mind interfering. So keep that out of the picture. This is how I've made every major business decision. The proof stack. Document every small win. Your brain needs evidence that transformation is indeed possible and actually happening. I kept records of every client breakthrough. I knew what they'd done. I can still name many of them and what kind of results we got. Every sign that I was on the right path was very important for me to document because within months, the evidence was undeniable. So here's a quick question. When was the last time you trusted that deeper knowing and it turned out right? Drop a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear from you on this. Back to Dr. Reuter Lorenz's latest research. And again, she's not related to me. It shows something profound. Emotional well-being peaks after 50 and continues climbing, not lessening. While 20-somethings are struggling with anxiety and uncertainty and depression, not all, but many, you're entering your most emotionally intelligent decades. Just getting started. So think about it. You've survived everything life could throw at you. It's possible you've raised humans, you've navigated relationships, you've handled crisis after crisis, grief, loss, disappointment, all of the things. That's not just experience. That's neural architecture that younger people haven't built yet. They just haven't had the experience with it yet. I've watched women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. My oldest client was 90. Step into their power in ways that make 30-year-olds envious. I've driven big rig RVs all the way across country in a few days, having more ability to do certain things that I could have ever done when I was younger. Why? Because they stop asking permission. All of these women, people like you and me, people like us, we stop asking for permission and started accessing the bilateral brain advantage. Your age isn't a limitation. It's your competitive edge in a world that desperately needs your wisdom. This bilateral brain advantage, it isn't just theory. I've seen it in action with my clients over 20 years. One woman grew up Amish with only an 8th grade education. She built $1 million herbal business by leveraging something younger people and entrepreneurs could not understand: how to reach both traditional and Amish customers through both direct mail, something went in the mailbox, and modern customers online. Her decades of living in both worlds gave her insights no marketing course could teach. I couldn't teach her that. She came to me with that already beginning, and we just expanded on it. Another client was a passionate barrel racer with no idea how to turn that into income, especially because it was during the pandemic. She created an online barrel racing community with lessons, a thriving membership, and people just kept joining. Her ideal clients gravitated to her, and now she is able to see them in person and still has her online business. Her years of experience gave her credibility, and her teaching ability came to life that younger writers couldn't match. They simply didn't have the experience. My very first client, the late Barbara Winter, bless her soul, hired me when I didn't even know how to write a sales letter. Why? Because she saw something in our conversation that my inexperience couldn't hide. The bilateral brain processing that comes from decades of life experience, my story, that came into the mix. And that first letter sold out her event. She'd been trying to sell it with other marketing, had not sold one ticket. And my First Steps, my fledgling beginning, sold out her Las Vegas event. The pattern is clear. When women over 50 stop believing society's limitations and start trusting their accumulated wisdom, extraordinary things happen. Here's what I know after helping thousands of women transform after 50. It's been in person and it's been online and indirectly. Everything you've lived through was preparation for what's coming next. And that means right now. The neural pathways you've built through decades of problem solving aren't getting weaker. They're getting more sophisticated. The wisdom you've gained isn't making you obsolete. It's making you irreplaceable. Dr. Reuter Lorenz's research confirms what I witnessed. Your brain at 50 plus, maybe 60s, 70s, wherever you're at, has capabilities your 25-year-old brain could never achieve. Bilateral processing, emotional regulation, pattern recognition, wisdom guided decisions. These are superpowers disguised as age. The transformation you're sensing isn't just possible with your bilateral brain advantage, it's inevitable. I hope that bilateral brain will stick with you today where you realize this is a superpower. And if you felt something shift while watching this, that's your bilateral brain confirming what you already know. It's time. So subscribe, because next time I'm sharing the exact decision-making framework I use to close a $100,000 deal in 15 minutes. Just a little conversation with no contract, no proposal, just deep connection. And this only works when you have decades of life experience to draw from. So hit the button. Don't miss this. The 15-minute close, how your age becomes your sales advantage. I'm going to drop that video tomorrow. So subscribe now. Download the Celestial Sherpa practice guide below. Use it this week. Watch what emerges. See what emerges as you write, because things will emerge right through your pen. Remember, you're not starting over at 50 or more. You're finally starting with full power. Thanks for being here today. Until next time, this is Tina Lorenz. Bye for now.